Hi, icuTalks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and admit something. I'm a little weepy today because I love stories. Stories have so much power. And I just think it's amazing that I get to stand up here. This is not cool, y'all. I am not a crier. I got to rein this in. But there is so much power in stories, and I'm just so excited to share mine. Yes, I am from Fort Mill, which is where Carowinds is. So everybody, just in case, I mean, that's kind of our claim to fame, Carowinds and Kim. I am a mom of 3. We have a 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. My name is Tiffany. It's spelled Tiffany, so you guys can all write that on your prayer list now because we're in it with our kids. Like, we are really in the thick of it with them. We also now homeschool. So just keep adding the prayers, all the prayers, please. My husband, Chris, and I celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary on August 1st. Which is a really big deal because I'm still kind of shocked that he asked me to marry him sometimes, because he's very calm and steady like a rock or 4x4 truck, whichever analogy you guys want to take. And I'm not, you guys. Obviously, I was about to cry walking on this freaking stage. I am not. I have all the big feels. I was actually told this afternoon I could not have any more coffee because I over-caffeinate my emotions, so it tends to be a bit much. But here's the thing, I get it completely honest. No, not my mom, dad. But because I grew up a Christian TV kid. Now, some of you guys just braced yourself, and others of you guys are looking at me really confused, okay? So let me break this down for you. What that means is one of my parents worked in Christian television as I grew up, okay? Some really big ones. We'll chat after. I'll let you know which ones. But what that means is that I grew up in a very kind of unique way. So to color this in the most effective way I possibly can, we're going to do something that I don't really like, but it helps, okay? We're going to talk about a stereotype for a minute, okay? We don't live in stereotypes. We don't judge in stereotypes. But I need all the stereotypes to color this picture. So if you're comfortable, you guys can go ahead and close your eyes. If you're not comfortable with that, you can kind of glaze over like my kids do when I ask them to clean their room. See? Y'all know. And I want you to think of the most stereotypical pastor's kid you possibly can, okay? Like full-blown WWJD bracelet, smoking menthols. Oh, y'all didn't go to that church? Okay, anyways. So the most stereotypical pastor's kid you can. Okay, now we're going to add in the drama club kid, okay? Like black boots, eyeliner being used as lip liner, slightly obsessed with the Doors, like 4 generations too late. You guys got it? Okay, I want you to smush those two together, swirl it around, add a little more side-eye, a little more sarcasm. Okay, when you guys are ready, open your eyes. Voila. That is your Christian TV kid. I grew up running around on backlots and sound stages, doing really unfortunate voiceovers because I had a speech impediment and my parents thought it was cute. So I recorded voiceovers that like to be put on Facebook every December. Thanks, Dad. Every December. Every December, people ask, who's that British child on your dad's Facebook? I'm like, I couldn't say my R's, leave me alone. So not only did I get to do the unfortunate voiceover, I also got to do the Christian TV spot, which I'm very thankful is non-existent in any social media form right now. But what a Christian TV spot is basically your Jesus commercial. You guys have all seen them, right? The A plus B equals C. That my life was awful and a wreck, and then I met Jesus, and everything was amazing afterwards, and I'm walking off in the sunset with insert spouse, child, pet here, right? You guys have seen them. We've all seen them. We've all interacted with them. You guys, you know what I'm talking about? Yes, I like it when heads nod. That helps me a lot. So what the problem with this is, now I want to stop real quick. Like I just said before, and I was crying over the fact that I think stories have so much power. Stories have a lot of power. So I'm not knocking the Jesus commercial. Like, there's a time and a place, and stories have power, and me standing on the stage might help somebody else. Someone else standing on the stage might help someone else. Having coffee with someone, sharing your story can help someone else. Stories save lives. Stories are so powerful. This whole stinking book is a story of God intersecting in the stories of his children. Like, stories are huge. But the problem, and what I did, and what I believe a lot of us do, is we take another person's story and use that as a formula for our own healing. Our healing does not come in a formula that God has created for someone else. Like icuTalks says, God is doing a new thing. Like, he's doing it, right? So that is exactly what I did, though. So a little over 12 years ago, I was in a not very good space mentally. I was quitting and changing jobs very, very rapidly. I was doing a really good job of pushing everybody relationally away from me. I was just not in a good spot. I was really depressed. I was really anxious. It was just not good. And I had a friend call me and say, hey, you know, Charleston, where she lives, has the most bars per block as any other city in America at the time. That's what she told me. I don't know if that was a lie. She lied a lot, but I don't know if that was a lie. So 3 hours later, I was in Charleston, South Carolina on a Saturday night, excited for a week of being able to breathe, a week of sitting on the beach and having a drink and just forgetting everything that I was destroying in Charlotte, right? Well, what I didn't know was Sunday morning, she was going to walk into the room, pull me basically out of bed and say, we're going to church. To which I said, say what? I was like, well, no, we're not. That's cute, funny. Give me my pillow back. She's like, no, we're going to church. Now, I know she grew up in church. She loved Jesus. She grew up in church. But for me, I was so far away from God, I didn't even think that I would possibly have to go to church with this child, okay? So I go to church on this Sunday morning. By the way, I saw this really cute blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, which, praise God, I'm married to now. But saw him on Sunday, and I was like, okay, if this is church, I'm just going to keep going. If he goes, I mean, God uses all things, but I'm just saying, God used a liar and a blonde-haired boy to get me to Jesus. But hey, it worked. And so the next day, Monday, was her small group, which she made me go to. Tuesday was her college ministry, which she made me go to. Wednesday, I kid you not, was our church in Charleston's first Wednesday service, which was their Wednesday worship service they did once a month. So Wednesday, I went to church. I was in church more in 1 week than I had probably been in 10 years, and I'm like, you guys are all crazy. But halfway through that service, something happened. Something broke. I found myself buckled over, face in my lap, doing the ugly, like, snot cry. You guys know that one, where it's like you're trying to muffle all the noise that is heaving out of you? I have snot pouring down my face, so I'm buckled over. I have mascara running up my head, which is not a good look, FYI. It's not pretty. And I started realizing how many walls I had and how I was being smothered by this guilt and these walls, and I needed hope and I needed freedom, but I had no idea how to get out of where I was at. So I left that service looking like a raccoon, but finally feeling like I could breathe. And I realized, this is it. This is my equal C. My Jesus commercial is coming, and it's going to be good. Somebody get me the soft filter, because we need to filter this raccoonness, and I got this. 6 months later, I found myself sitting on a friend's roof, trying to figure out how much farther up I needed to climb to jump off. In 6 months, I had gone from the top of the top to the bottom of the bottom. I had pushed all of my friends away. I had pushed everybody away I possibly could. I was doing a really good job, or so I thought, a really good job of lying to Chris and pretending everything was okay. Thankfully, the man's smarter than he looks. Love him. And he decided that he was going to intervene. So he picked me up, not like picked me up, and we went to our local bookstore, and he sat there and he said, okay, look, you need to figure this out. If you're going to walk away, walk away. But if not, we're going to figure this out. So we walked into this bookstore, and I sat by all the Bibles, and I sat down on the ground and kind of said really not nice things about him in my head, I'm not going to lie, and started pulling Bibles and devotionals off the shelf. Kind of more in like hissy fit, like not like reading them, but more like a 2-year-old when it's like you can't find your shoe and you're just frustrated. So more like that. And then I got sick of sitting there, and I thought, okay, God, all right, this is how this is going to go. All right, God? Because, God loves it when we tell him how things are going to work. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull a Bible off the shelf. And whatever the first verse I see, if it does not pertain to this situation right now, I'm out. I'm done. I'm over it. So I ripped a Bible off the shelf. And it was a study Bible because that thing was like this. And the Bible fell open, and the whole right side of the Bible was about this one verse. Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for you are my praise. And I thought, anybody else see that? Like, wait, no, that's not how this is going to play out. And so I started reading through this verse. And it's about God's promise and how God promises healing. And I thought, yes, take 2. We can do take 2. It's okay. Take 2 is good. It was 12 years ago. In the past 12 years, I have battled anxiety, panic attacks, depression, 2 miscarriages, postpartum depression, and an attempted suicide when I was pregnant with my youngest child. It didn't get easy. I didn't get to walk off in the sunset with that little blonde-eyed boy because things got hard. Really hard. So with the suicide attempt, you get a lot of people in your story, which is such a great thing. Like, therapy is great. I'm a talker. I love it. A lot of people in your story. And what I found out during that is I was diagnosed with some things that I don't think I've ever actually, laid out in one setting. So we're going to do that tonight. And before I say it, though, I am not giving you guys my diagnoses just to be like, look at my huge label list. Isn't that cool? Because it's not cool. I say it because God has done so much through those things that no matter what list you think you have, no matter what labels you have been given, you're more than that because God says that you are his. So this is what I was diagnosed with. I was diagnosed with, all right, I'm going to brace myself, OCD, PTSD, anxiety disorder, agoraphobic tendencies, and bipolar disorder. Yeah, it's kind of by the grace of God and the fact that I can't tell Kim no that I'm standing here. But what I did was I got so mad after that. I was so angry. I'll say it, I was flat out pissed because I had been praying, because I'd been given a promise that I was going to be healed, and now I have even a higher stack of stuff to deal with than I did before. I watched friend after friend get what I perceived as my promise. I saw marriages be restored. I saw couples that couldn't have children have 3 kids. I saw people that had cancer miraculously be healed. I saw friendships and relationships be restored time and time again, and I'm sitting here going, I just want to make it through the week without having a panic attack. I just want to wake up one morning and not think that my family's life would be better if I wasn't in it, that I was the one making the mess of everything. See, for some reason, most of my life, I've had this thought that everyone around me's life would be better if I wasn't here. Nothing was ever spoken over me, y'all. Nobody ever said that to me. It's just something that for some reason loves to echo in the back of my head. Even when I was 9 years old, I remember being 9 years old sitting in a tree. I don't know why I was in a tree, guys, but I was in a tree reading a book. I don't know. I was 9. I was a weird kid. So I remember sitting in this tree, looking up to the top branches, going, I wonder how much farther I would have to climb to jump and it just be done. My oldest is 8. It breaks my heart to think that he could ever have those same thoughts. But as I wrestled with this concept of why is my promise not my promise? I'm like, did I just have too much coffee that night? Like, was I reaching? Like, why is my promise not my promise? I started thinking about the fact that maybe it wasn't a declaration of my healing, but the praise of a promise. Maybe it wasn't that I was going to be healed on this side of heaven from my big old long list. But maybe I was giving a praise of a promise because he saved me. He said I was saved and I was saved. Because I promise. Because I praise that promise. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for you are my praise. My praise is not hingent on the first part of that verse. My praise is hingent because I know on the other side of heaven, I'm going to have a really good Jesus commercial. And it's probably going to have a really good filter. Like, I'm like, like Instagram filters? Like, I'm hoping for, like, the really good Instagram filter in heaven, like the heaven filter that, like, we can't unlock yet. You guys know what I'm saying? So, hopefully there's a slide. A couple verses up in Jeremiah 17, it's 5 through 8. And I'm going to read it in my Bible. It'll be on this slide, which is literally like here to here, which took me 12 years to find. So, this is the verse. Cursed is the one who trusts in man, who draws strength from mere flesh, and whose heart turns away from the Lord. That person will be like a bush in the wasteland. They will not see prosperity when it comes. They will dwell in the parched places of the desert, in the salt lands where no one lives. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in the year of drought, and it never fails to bear fruit. There's tension in that verse. You have drought, and you have years of fruit, and we live in that tension. That is what it's like to live here on the earth. We live in that tension. That's what this side of heaven is all about, is the tension. We live in years of drought, and we live in years of bearing fruit. But we get to accept if we're going to choose hope or not. We get to accept if we're going to praise the promise or be so preoccupied about watching someone else bear fruit by a stream that we don't realize we have a stream going straight between our legs ourselves. That Jesus is there, ready and willing to give you that hope. It still gets dark. It does. There are still days where it hurts. There's still days where I wake up and I think, oh my goodness, I am messing up every single person that is coming in contact with me. There are still days that it's hard to get out of bed. But like the tagline on my license plate says that my husband picked out for me, love this man. While I breathe, I hope. While I breathe, I hope. And as long as I have God's breath in my lungs, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to hold on to that hope. And I hope you guys do too. Thank you.